Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Choices with Chichi. My name is Chagazie Madindu. Yay! So today guys, I'm going to be sharing with you something I just learned recently and I have been working on. I'm not perfect too, but I'm just going to share with you some of my learning points over the past few months. So today we'll be talking about the possibility of parenting without yelling. Yeah. Two things I want to say before I start this video. First of all, I wasn't paid to say these things. I wasn't paid to advertise someone else's business. I wish I was paid though, but I wasn't paid. I'm just sharing with you some of the good stuff I have learned from somebody, and I really think it would be useful, especially in the Nigerian context where we like to yell and beat our children yeah. Secondly, let me give you a background story to understand why this is a big deal for me. I hated yelling. I hated to be yelled at as a child, right? So if I offended you, beat me and let's be going. But don't yell at me, because for me words were powerful. Words got to me easily. I hated to make people so upset that they yelled, but I didn't mind making you so upset so you spanked me. Just get it over with and let's be going. Right? But somehow, because I had my parents who were serious yellers, I ended up becoming a mom and I realized I was a yeller. A bad one at that. So background gist, so you understand why I reacted the way I did when I saw the flyer of the no yelling challenge. So main gist now, story. Once upon a time. So I'm in my house sitting pretty and I get a message in my Instagram inbox from a friend, and she sends me this flyer by Wendy Ologe. She's the founder, Intentional Parents Academy. You guys should check her out, really. And like I said, it's not a paid advert, but she's really good. She's so good at what she does. And I am changed today because of her. So let's give credit and honor to whom credit and honor are due, right? So it's a flyer of a no yelling challenge, a 10-day no yelling challenge, and I'm looking at it like, so you guys want to tell me that it's possible to raise these children, this type of my children, without yelling? All right. So I signed up, and then we started our challenge. My goodness. From day one, I knew I was in trouble. In fact, I remember putting up the flyer, oh, you guys, I'm signing up for a 10-day no yelling challenge. The comments I got, and I'll post them at the end of the video, were hilarious. Like, are you okay? Is it possible? Or the possible? Someone was like, I wish you good luck. Someone said, I'm rooting for you. Someone was like, man, I don't even envy you. Good luck. So you could see a lot of skepticism and cynicism mixed with cynicism. Like, are you sure you're not going on a wild goose chase? But I was just adventurous and I really wanted to see where it would lead me, and I'm glad I took that challenge. So we start by day one, and first of all, they're introducing us to a yell meter, like a measurement for yelling. And the lowest is 1, the highest is 7. And I'm looking at myself like, babe, if you're going to be serious and truthful with yourself, you're between 5 and 6. I was a yeller. 7 is where you're raging mad and you're uncontrollable. So I don't really think I will say I was there, but man, I was getting close and I was progressing in this parenting thing. So first of all, that was the first shocker. I was a serious yeller. There is 1 where you have the whispers, then 2 where you have the ones the voice you use to speak to children. Hi, hello, how are you? And there's regular conversation voice. Then there's the business. You're beginning to annoy me, kind of, like that. And then there are the yellers, the main yell, the shout. I was between 5 and 6. So I told myself that my goal is to stick to being between 3 and 4 every day. From 1, but that's God will help me every day. I will not pass 3 and 4, because that's where sane people stay. So, yeah, first of all, I think the first thing that challenge did to me was to open my mind to the possibility of being a parent without yelling. A faulty stronghold in me was broken first. Then second thing was the yell meter. And let me pause and share with you why this challenge was important to me. I have a very strong willed son, and all my methods, disciplinary methods, had failed. I had spanked, I had shouted. What broke my heart the other day was I was like, you know what? Come here, bring your bum bum. And my son just came, turned his cute tushy to me. This time, are we done yet? And my hand is very painful. These hands are very painful. So my point is, I had gotten to the point where my son wasn't even scared of my spanking anymore. And I had shouted at him, and I had seen the negative impact it had on my son. First of all, when you shout at him, he will have like a nervous breakdown. He will hold his head and just be shouting and just be, basically melting away. And when he's not doing that, he'll be beating himself. And then the one that even blew me off the other day was when I was in the kitchen and I heard him talking to his younger brother. So let me pause and say here, I have two kids, two boys. One is 3 and the other just turned 7. 7 months. 7 months. So he's talking to his younger brother, and this is what I'm hearing. Jedediah, I don't like it. Stop it. You don't listen. What is wrong with you? Give me back my toy. Don't do that again. Can you hear me? I said don't do that again. And I came out from the kitchen. I was like, Jedi, stop shouting. And then stop shouting on your brother. What is wrong with you? So like I said, my last is 7 months. So we're talking about when he was like 3, 4. I don't think he was even up to 5 months. So his elder brother is breathing down fire on him. And you could see the small boy just looking at him like... I went back to the kitchen and I wept. See, I couldn't even spank him for shouting on his brother because I could hear him projecting me. See, this parenting thing is hard because these kids come into this world empty and you're filling them up every day, and so you need to be deliberate what you're filling your children with. More than what you say. I know they used to say it before that your children would hear and obey what you're doing more than what you're saying. I used to hear it before, but Omo, this is me saying for real. What you do is what they copy. What you do is what they copy. Another thing too that my son does that I had to stop doing was when we get to a road that is blocked, like when I'm driving and we get to the road and someone is driving carelessly, my son legit goes, Oga, what is wrong with you? Move! I say move! Yeah. Where did he learn that from? Yeah, so I had to stop doing all of these things because without knowing, and as young as he is, just 3, he is becoming a chronic yeller. And if I'm not, careful, we will start a vicious circle. So I'm listening to Wendy Oloke, God bless her, by the way, doing her thing, and I'm breaking down with every day's challenge because I'm like, gosh, I'm grateful first of all that my children are this age, and for me, they're redeemable because I'm changing and I'm seeing the ripple effects on the whole family. And then I'm also grateful that this thing came to my doorstep just at the point where I'm accepting to be a shout mommy and a beat mommy. So apart from the yell meter and then she opening our minds and our understanding to the fact that this thing is possible, she also taught us to identify your triggers, and that was key for me. Of course, I can't tell you everything we did in 10 days. It's someone's business, so you need to go and register and go through the process because there are worksheets, there are activities, then there are group discussions. It's just a whole lot. But I'm going to pick out the things that really stood out to me. And I'm doing this because people really did not believe that it was possible. So I really want you to understand that it's possible. I want to share and inspire hope in you. Then she also taught us to identify our triggers, like what triggers you to be upset with your child. You need to look into your family inwardly and do the exercise. And when I did it, I discovered first of all that eating times were major triggers for us. My son is such a picky eater. And when he's not in the mood, then he will wear you out. Open your mouth, no. Swallow what is in your mouth, no. Eat more, no. I don't want, I'm okay. Then just when you say, okay, 12 midnight, let me just go and sleep. 2 a.m. someone is tapping you, mommy, I want bread and tea. And he won't sleep. You trust me, you won't sleep until you stand up from that bed. Or when you've moved on to do something else, you just come, hey, now I want to eat. Hey. So I realized eating was a trigger. Assignments too were triggers. So I was like, okay. What she taught us to do was basically identify your triggers and build a structure around them. and build like a goal around them. So one thing, for instance, we started doing with assignments is I only do assignments when I'm rested. Doing assignments in an edgy or tired mood gets both of us worked up. So if I'm tired and he's tired, we move it. If we cannot do it, he takes it back to school. They should give him back on another day when we have energy. But I just realized that that regular screaming and tension in the house was not necessary. Really, it was having more of a negative impact in our family than any positivity. So yeah, we identified our triggers and we set structures. Then when it comes to discipline, there are a lot of things she said, and I'm just going to run through them. First of all, in your discipline, you have to be predictable. And then discipline is not an emergency. And I'm going to lump those 2 points together. One, discipline is not an emergency. So it's not every time your child does something that you now start reacting. Some days you need to think it through. Oh, this thing this child has done, what do we do? You mustn't even beat that day, do you know? You must even beat the second day. I'm saying, do you know, like I know, but right, I had to learn it. You can actually let some time pass and think through your punishment or whatever it is, or how you want to handle it. Sometimes you don't forgive, sometimes it's just a talk. But don't be in a hurry to zawa. Yeah, and you need to be predictable. So today, let the consequences for lying not be slap, and then tomorrow the consequence for lying is disowning. Like, let your kids know that this is the consequence for this. If you don't finish your food, you will eat it again. So that's the consequence. It doesn't have to be, I will shove it down your throat. Like, discipline doesn't have to be really painful. Another key learning point is this: public discipline is failed discipline. Because I see sometimes some people are under pressure to show the world and their grandmothers that they don't take nonsense from their children and they're very strict. So once your child misbehaves in public, you want to show the world that I got it. Watch me do my thing with this child of mine. Yeah, no, you don't do that. You break your child down. See, yeah, this what it was when I was doing the training that I understood, the challenge, I understood that you shout to them. It's acceptable to shout to them, but you don't shout at them. And when you shout at them, you demean your children. You break their spirits. Shouting to them means you're probably shouting to get them out of danger, to prevent them from making a mistake. That's different. No, don't do that, don't do that. Come out of there. Shouting out, what is, you are always misbehaving. You're not a good child. Yeah, don't do that. And I'm saying this because I know a lot of people will say, I beg me, they shouted at me and beat me and I still turned out okay. Do you know you really didn't turn out okay? Because there are always two extremes to someone who is shouted at or someone who grew up in a shouting home. You either become a chronic shouter or you become a reclusive person. You're quiet, you're your own, you have a broken spirit, low self-esteem. It always happens that way. I'm yet to see someone else, except you come to the realization that there is a problem and you begin to fix it. It always results in those two, extremes. And of course, there was a part where we were taught not to dish out consequences that were not possible. In fact, your consequences should be possible. Avoid threats. Threats are things you cannot carry out. Don't threaten your children. Every time should not be, if you move there, I'll slap you. If you come inside now, I'll knock you. Some days, just chill. And then when you're even telling your child your consequences, there are things you should be that are doable. So don't say things like, I will kill you today. I will kill you. When I finish beating you, I'll kill you today. You're not going to kill your child. And if you keep saying those things, your children are not even going to take you seriously. Right? And then, lastly, but not the least, she said 2 key things. And those 2 things I'll discuss in my next video. First of all, you need to know your child. And secondly, you need to understand your child's learning style. Now, when it comes to knowing my child, it was during this training I understood that my son there's such a thing as a strong-willed child, and there's such a thing as parents of strong-willed children. Like, there's a community for strong-willed children. What is even amazing is that I actually prayed for a strong-willed child. Now I'm looking at myself like, what was I thinking again? Yeah, he's here, and we thank God. But there are a lot of good sides and bad sides to strong-willed children. You simply need to understand your child. So people with strong-willed children like myself, you hear them say things, and if they're not knowledgeable, you hear them say things like, oh, my child is very stubborn, oh, he won't obey, I just can't understand him, he's just impossible to deal with. Well, you need to read up on strong with children and understand them. And there's such a thing as understanding your child's learning style. Like I said, I'll discuss it in my next video. So there are different kinds of children and their learning styles. If you do so, you can even become a homeschooler to your children. Like you can teach your children with ease. With ease. So I think the summary of all I've said is this. First of all, it's possible to be a no yelling parent. Secondly, the earlier you stop yelling at your children, the better. It causes us to have a vicious circle that everybody hates. So, demeaning your children by raising your voice is not necessarily discipline. You need to know when to stop and when to, and then discipline doesn't always have to be beating. Love is also a form of discipline, right? So guys, I don't even know if I should do a part 2 of this video because there's so much I'm not saying, but I think if you have an opportunity, or maybe if the opportunity arises again, I'll probably let you guys know. I think one challenge is coming in August. If you find it, or check her out, Wendy Ologe, follow her, just keep abreast of her posts and know when a no yelling challenge is coming. Please, for the sake of your children and generations yet unborn, stop yelling at your children. It's very possible. I would talk about it some more in my next video. I already said I didn't want this one to get to 20 minutes, but it's almost there. So I hope you learned one or two things from this video, and I'm hoping that someone has makes a resolution or has a resolve in their spirit, in their hearts, to do it right by these children. Yes, you turned out okay. Maybe you turned out okay, but you turned out just okay. There's always a place called forward in parenting. And I also want to just end it by saying that this parenting thing is not easy. Give yourself a break, pat yourself on the back. But when it's time to do things better, don't prevent yourself from growing and growing with your children. All right, guys. So today I shared about my choice to stop yelling with my children, talking about choices with Chichi, and I'm really seeing the benefits in my son's life. He doesn't shout at his brother, the way he used to. And then we converse. And because we do a lot of conversations, he really doesn't want to offend me because we're really close, we are bonding. All those nervous breakdowns, symptoms, all those things he used to have, he no longer has them. But the truth is, I can't tell you that I have gone a full week without yelling. But I'm work in progress. And the day or the week, the time or the moment I go through a full week without yelling, I'ma come and share with you guys, man. I need to boast in this community. But until then, remain blessed. Be praying for me and you to stop yelling at your children. And let's be deliberate about raising a wonderful, deliberate, strong, courageous generation. See you guys. Ciao, ciao. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed. Bye. Cheers.